5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're now tuned into the 411 podcast and reading Between the Wines, powered by the Black Diamond Consultations Network. More than a podcast, this is a sanctuary for self-discovery, healing, and personal growth. Here, we explore what it means to live debt-free, not just financially, but spiritually, mentally, physically, and emotionally. Every episode is part of a journey across our weekly mentorship series: Spiritual Sundays, Mental Mondays, Transformational Tuesdays, Wind Down Wednesdays, Coaching Sessions Thursdays, and Financial Fridays. Each day holds space for wisdom, clarity, and real conversation. So grab your journal, pour your glass, and prepare to go beyond the surface. Because here, we don't just talk, we transform. And now, here's your guide through it all, entrepreneur, mentor, and founder of Black Diamond Consultations, Laren Gaines.
Welcome on in. Welcome to Reading Between the Wines. What's going on? If you are out there, please do me a favor. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, tag a friend, share this podcast with someone. Bring someone in. I want to say thank you again. Welcome to Wind Down Wednesdays. This is part of the Mentorship series. And if you are interested in having a seat at the table, going through the assignments with me night after night, please feel free to reach out. You can DM me, you can text me, and we will give you all of the information that you need to make sure that you can pull up at this table and discuss everything with me tonight. We have author Birdman 313 coming in tonight. But before we go ahead and move forward, I want to say, and I want to give a very special thank you to my executive producer. I want to thank God for giving me another opportunity to come out here and give you the Reading Between the Wines show. I say it time and time again, but I know what I'm supposed to be doing here. I know why I'm here. And I continue to have these tests and I continue to have these trials. And I'm sure that each and every one of you, you go through the same thing in your life. But when you know, you know. And through that, I'm just thankful. I understand more than ever what I'm here to do. And I'm just thankful that I'm able to share it with people out there like you who listen to me. So a lot of great things coming. I have the Reading Between the Wines tour for 2025. This is my first time embarking on a winery tour. So that's coming up. More information on that. I have an awesome lineup for part 2 of the live show of 411 Podcast and Reading Between the Wines coming up next month. So you will get to see myself, all of my special guests, with the lights, camera, action, everything is going to be on. So stay tuned. Check me out across all of my social media platforms. I will be dropping information for the Reading Between the Wines tour, as well as this 5 restoration part 2, which will be coming up live next. 6 awesome guests, and of course Birdman 313 is one of them. You will get to hear from him, see him right across the screen, and you will also get to hear some of his poetry as well. So looking forward to connecting and having that real conversation face to face with my guests that will be coming through next month. So stay tuned for that. And now let's get into the recap of last episode. So last episode, I was a little disturbed, which I didn't like the letter that was written in. Not saying that I didn't like it. I didn't like elements from the letter. We helped out Miss Sabrina from Chicago. I just didn't like how her father was acting. The mother had her situation going on, and I'm sure the only thing that I can basically equate it to is just basically the single independent mothers out there that struggle and they know how to make things work. Sabrina says that I grew up in a house where struggle was worn like a badge of honor. My mom would brag about making it work with nothing. And honestly, I don't see anything wrong with that because I know so many women who, hold it down for their families and they make it work and they always come up with so many different miracles. God makes it possible. And sometimes it's making it work, making something out of nothing. So I get that. However, this next part disturbing to me. And my dad would laugh about living off like it was a war story. That's where I have a problem because you decide to take that responsibility of being someone's father, being someone's dad. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you. Please share this podcast with someone, share this link, share this video wherever you're listening at. When you take on that responsibility of having a family, as a man, I feel that you have to do whatever you need to do to make it work. And to be bragging and laughing about living off of ramen when you're raising, children, remember more is taught. So there's no coincidence that Miss Sabrina is going through the same thing in her life. Showed her that's what's repeating. So if you want to, we help Miss Sabrina out, you can go ahead and watch that replay. It's available on YouTube. It is also available streaming on most podcast platforms, wherever you listen to your podcast. You should be able to get 411 Podcast and Reading Between the Wines. Thank you so much to D Live. Thank you so much to Twitch. I appreciate you out there. Please share this video. It was just mind-boggling to me. And this is a prime example of more is caught than more is taught. And the key word, the key phrase, the key theme, breaking generation. Our parents will teach us some things. They'll teach us some great things. They'll teach us make it work in life, how to become a responsible, adult. But there are some parents out there that will teach us some bad things. So you got to take the good with the bad. And, sometimes they're just doing the best that they know how to do. They're just basically giving you what they were taught. More's caught than more's taught. And when it comes to breaking generational curses, when it comes to moving beyond and being better than where you've come from, it starts with you. So yes, Sabrina was shown these things. Sabrina caught all of these things growing up. But she has to make that decision. Everything starts with self. Everything starts with you. If you see something that your parents did that you may have not, wasn't a fan of it, it wasn't your most memorable moment. It's some cases that's what helps change people because they experience things from a childhood and they say, absolutely not. When I grow up, this will not continue. I am breaking this cycle. I am stopping this right here, right now. This ends here with me. Check out that replay. Head on over to YouTube. You can also check me out on most of my social media platforms. I know it's posted on Facebook. We posted on D Live. Thank y'all so much for hanging with me out there. We posted on basically all of the social media platforms. And again, you can also get it where you listen to most of your podcasts. This is a good show tonight. I feel vibes are going to be great from this show tonight. I know we're kicking it off with something familiar. I know I never get tired of this artist. She's my favorite. She's helped me in my life so much. And this My Life album was very monumental. That's a great word there. I was just speaking about how mystical is that I was able to meet this artist not once but twice. And I remember having a conversation as a youngster, 11 years old. And I just asked God, please make it possible for me to meet, my favorite artist. And he did. not once but twice, and I'm thankful. And this album changed my life big time. I was going through as a teenager, and this album just helped me so much. Helped shape me and mold me into the person who I am today. Just I can't even say enough about this album. But the song of the day, "Be Happy" by Mary J. Blige, released in 1994 off of the My Life album. Be happy. All I really want is for me to be happy. Mary says, all I really want is for me to be happy. That has been my battle cry for years because I just want to be happy. And I've learned over the years that my happiness always was compromised when I didn't stand up for myself. The younger version of me didn't know how to stand up for myself. Standing up for myself and basically saying, no, this doesn't work for me. You no longer do it for me like you used to. Like I said again, this does not work for me. No, I don't want to go there, and I can't go there. No, you can't use my car. No, I can't give you money. No, you can't stay at my place. And no, I don't have it to give it to you today or any other day. No is a complete sentence, and that's what I needed to learn how to do. I had to learn how to stand up for myself, something that I never knew how to do before. But when you know better, you do better. And your boy knows the power of saying no today. Now, every day isn't always roses. Some days I get down just like everybody else. I know I come out here and I podcast and, I have the whispers of wisdom and I give great advice when it comes to debt free living and all of that great stuff. I get it. I know. But I want to say that it ain't easy. Some days I just want to be happy. And I get down just like the rest of them, just like you out there. Every day ain't a perfect day. Some days I wake up and I just don't even want to be bothered. But what is most important is that when I do fall down, I don't stay down. Because even though sometimes we fall down, I thank God that I know how to get back up again. Just like that song from Donnie McKirkland. I have enough sense to know that one little incident or one little mistake on my behalf is not the end of the road. Y'all know that song by Boys to Men. This past weekend, I made several mistakes. But I knew, come Monday, I knew, guess what? It ain't the end of the road. People may not tell you how they feel about you, but they will always show you. And I've learned how to pay attention. Now, how people react to me when I start standing up for myself and saying the word no is so important. See, I've learned that people who get upset when you set boundaries are the ones who benefited from you when you didn't have any at all. And I'll say that again. The people who get upset when you set boundaries are the ones who benefited from you not having any in the first place. Know who you are, know thyself, and start setting folks straight. Just start setting them straight. Song of the day, Be Happy, Mary J. Blige. This is episode 46, when escapes become expenses. Wow. Now, we're going to get into this wine here tonight. I got some white Zinfandel. I've been waiting for this for a minute. And this is type of wine here, what I call is like your typical house wine. Nothing over the top, just an average. This is budget friendly wine from Gallo family. And white Zinfandel. Since 1933, Gallo family has stood by the belief that when you're good to the land will be good to you. 4 generations later, we embrace the responsibility of making quality wines for all families while nurturing our land. Our white Zinfandel combines crisp refreshment with bright fruit. You'll taste notes of fresh strawberries and hints of sweet citrus. Now, before we get into tonight's sampling, I want to remind everyone that Black Diamond Consultations and Reading Between the Wines encourages responsible drinking at all times. Be mindful that alcohol affects your spiritual. I've said it before. They don't call it wine and spirits for no reason. Be mindful that alcohol affects your spiritual, mental, physical, and financial well being. Irresponsible habits consequences in each of these areas of your life. Experience, savor the flavors, and know your limits because the best memories are made when we sip responsibly. Welcome in, welcome in. We're going to get into this wine here. Again, I've been waiting for this all week. This is one of my favorites. Zinfandel grape is one of my favorites. So white Zinfandel in the summer and straight Zinfandel in the fall, winter months. And I don't know if anybody is from my area, but New Jersey here, it seems like fall just crept up out of nowhere. But it's here already. It's 60s and 70s already. And here it is August. Insane. Again, this is from Gallo Family Vineyards, white Zinfandel from the region of California. The grape is Zinfandel, but this one is the rosé style. Average price of this bottle is about $10. The alcohol content is anywhere between 9 and 9.5. The appearance, you're going to get this nice blush pink, very bright. When I was shopping for wine, I did notice that different brands, the brightness does differ depending on the brand. The aromas, fresh strawberries, peach, sweet citrus. You're going to get a combination of all of those. When it comes to the taste, medium bodied and semi-sweet. I love semi-sweet wines. Dominated by red fruit notes, strawberries and raspberry, tree fruit like peach, tropical fruits. You're going to get that crisp, refreshing finish. This pairs well with light lunches, maybe a brunch, Thanksgiving turkey. That's going to be coming up soon. Chicken salad, seafood, peach cobbler. And this is served super chilled. So you want to bring the temp down on this one here. White Zinfandel was originally discovered by accident, which I didn't know. I just learned that this wine here, the white version of it, because remember there's regular Zinfandel, but the white version was discovered by accident. Out of 5 stars, this gets 4. So this is up there. This is going to be a great one. This is a friendly, fruity rosé that's easy to sip, budget friendly, and enjoyable, especially in casual settings. Community reviews, taste testers highlights its lingering aroma of sweet raspberries and notes of tropical fruit. And to sum it all up, Gallo Family White Zinfandel is a cheerful, fruit-forward rosé that delivers strawberry, peach, and a touch of citrus with a soft, semi-sweet profile. Its low alcohol, bright flavors, and versatility makes it an excellent pick for summer sipping, casual meals, or dessert. So I want to say cheers. This wine smells amazing. Thank you all so much for joining in on another episode of Reading Between the Wines. And while I'll go ahead and sample this wine, we're going to bring in my special guest, author Birdman 313. Oh yeah, it's definitely passed the test. I'm right there with the 4 out of 5 stars, and we are on. What's going on, Birdman? How are you?
Hey, how's it going, man?
I'm just going good. You make me laugh. Oh, yeah. I don't know. I guess I make you laugh when I say how great the wine is, but I hear you
Yeah,
laughing all
you
the
ought you ought
time.
to write a book about that, man.
Maybe in the
How's
future,
it
maybe in the
going?
future. It's going good. I'll tell you that Jersey here is cold for some reason. I don't get it.
Well, you got that storm coming through there, man, and from where I see, man, I'm not gonna say it's gonna hit the coast, but it's getting close enough.
I haven't been paying attention to it. I heard something about it yesterday. So I guess that's what's going on, huh?
Yeah, man. I mean, it has picked up, and they said it's gotten closer to the coastal line. So I mean, I don't wish nobody bad things, but I'm just
Hmm.
glad it ain't hitting this way.
Yeah, because I know you during this time frame, this is when it typically starts to happen, right?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. We started getting it a lot. So
And what's the name of this one? Somebody said it starts with an I.
Aaron,
Oh, it's an E.
yeah,
Oh, so they see, and they I didn't know. I learned this maybe about maybe 5 years ago that they follow the alphabet. So they just getting started because it's on E.
right. It hasn't been too many out there. It's been like little tropical, you know, uh, um, rainfalls. This one is like really, I think the first major to threaten the states this year.
Mm. Yeah,
And
there's
I
a
could be
whole.
wrong. I mean, I don't know, man. The news is depressing nowadays, so
I don't
you
even
know,
watch it.
I catch it every once in a while, man, and that's just the way it is.
I'll tell you what one of the podcasters that I listen to, he speaks about the news. He calls CNN constantly negative news.
Yeah,
He calls Fox sly as a Fox News. He has
yeah,
all of these different little sayings for all of the news stations, so I know exactly what you mean. I stay away from
yeah,
them.
yeah. And I'm at like today is we just been getting a lot of thunder. It's been raining here off and on, and today is a lot of thundering. So but it's still in the 80s. I can say that.
Mm. I wish that it was in the 80s here.
Oh, okay.
All right. Well, we have been on this Money Hacks book, which I honestly I enjoy reading from this every week. I don't know, we come up with all types of stuff out of this book here. So again, there's 275. So you give me a number from, I know you did one last time, right? So
Right.
just give me a number 2 to 275. Eventually we're going to hit the same thing
Okay.
as we continue to go through this.
I will try 215.
215. All right, let's see what we get from 215. 215. Go on a retirement treasure hunt. All right. How many jobs have you had since you were 18? Even if they didn't, I don't know. Wow. I'm going to read that again. It just caught me off guard. How many jobs have you had since you were 18? Even if they didn't all offer retirement plans, there's a good chance that you've had at least one 401k under a previous employer. If you're not sure you took care of that account when you left your job, it's time to double check your history for lost 401k accounts. Doing this is important because you may have had a job in the past where you were employed that contributed on your behalf, even if you didn't. Where to look for old 401ks? Your employer. Check through your paperwork from your old job for any information about a retirement account. If you have information about your plan administrator, contact them for your account login info. You may need to contact your previous employer's human resources department for directions otherwise. Your state's unclaimed property office. Your employer may have cashed out your account if the balance was small, leaving the cash in limbo. Check missingmoney.com and see. Wow, missingmoney.com. Everybody write that down. The National Registry of Unclaimed Retirement Benefits. That is unclaimedretirementbenefits.com. You can search for plans in your name using only your social security number. If there's a match, you enter your contact information so your employer or your account custodian can find out what you want to do with the money. Once you find your retirement plan, you can choose to roll it over into an account you already have, leave it in its current account, or take a cash distribution. Obviously, continuing to invest the money is your best move. So go on a retirement treasure hunt. What do you feel about that?
Oh man, yeah, yeah. But you know what? You got me thinking that I had a job. I had. Oh man, I'm not gonna even count the jobs I done had. I done had so many. You know, some of them I worked 4 days. Some days, sometimes I worked a couple of years, and I think it was only one of them I had dispute with about a retirement, and they wouldn't give me my money, and I disputed with them, and I just said skip it. You know, they didn't want to give me the money. They said we got the power because we got these powerful attorneys. Who do you have? And
Mm,
I'm like, yeah.
they
And
didn't want to give.
no, and they said what it was. They sent me a statement to the
Hmm.
house, and I looked at it, and I'm like, oh, I didn't realize they had a retirement plan because it was really a start with an S type job, you
Hmm.
know. And I dealt with it, and when I inquired about it, they were, oh, that was a mistake. I said, how is it a mistake when it has my my name, address, and social security number on here, and I did work for you. And then you know they when they said, hey, we got attorneys. What do you have? And
Well,
I,
you know
huh?
what? I say that it won't hurt to go on these websites and check it out.
Oh, I have.
Oh,
Yeah,
you have.
trust me. I always do that. You know, I always check missing. I am missing money. I check. I even check for my parents.
I somebody told me that my name was on there before, and I never followed up on it. I just let it go.
My dad was on there one time. It was for $25, but I wouldn't got it.
I know that's right. I'm and
You know, I
listen.
went got it. His name was on there. I told my mom about it, and I said, "Hey, I'm going to get it." I said, "I'm giving it to you." She said, "What you giving it to me for?" I said, "Because that was your husband." You know, and she said, "That's your dad. Keep it." I'm like, "Okay." I went and got it. She, you know, it was $25. I went and got it, and I always periodically check those, you know, that site for
Hmm.
both of them. You know, 'cause I still have all the information, social security card and everything. My sister, she don't even know where my mom was born at. She don't
Mm,
even know the dates or nothing. I know everything because I got all their paperwork. You know, and I always told her, even though, you know, if it's a bunch of money, I'll split it with you or I'll give you a portion of it. But I haven't been able to find anything. So
right. Uh, well, only thing I have to say about this thing here is if you got money out there, people, who's just leaving it on the table? That's what I want to know.
yeah,
I
man, all
mean,
you gotta do, because all you gotta do to prove it, all you have to, you know, well, I know when I had to prove it, I had to give him his social security. I had to give him his social security number, birthday, social security number, and where he lived, where we lived at during that period of time.
hmm
And I had all that information, you know, because and the reason why I got it was because people was telling me, they said, "Hey man, somebody might have stole your dad's social security number or your, you know," and so that's the reason why, you know, I did that just to see if somebody else, because you know there's been a lot of people who use other people's social security numbers,
yeah, that's
and
crazy.
so yeah, and so you know I went in just to check to make sure, and then they said this missing money. And my mom was sitting back and she was laughing at the time, you know, ha ha ha. What if we had some money? I said, I'm going to find out. Just like that. And she said, yeah. And she was like, you serious? I'm like, yeah. I went and like I said, it was $25. Hey, I even said, "Hey, mom," I said, "Here," I said, it's yours." And she wouldn't take it. She said, "No, no, no, no. You go ahead. You did." I said, "Okay, then." So I just kept it.
That's what's up. I might need to check that out again because again, but that was like almost like 25 years ago when somebody told me that my name was on there. That's probably gone by now. 'Cause
Well, yeah. Well,
I think
most states, they ain't letting no money sit on the books like that too long. They gobbling it up.
exactly. Hmm.
But it doesn't
Oh,
hurt to look.
right, just like what I told you, don't hurt to look.
Yeah.
I remember I was telling somebody something about something similar along this line about getting money back. And the worst case scenario is that somebody's gonna tell you no,
Yeah.
but at least you tried.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And see, that's why,
I mean, at least
with
you
that
tried.
retirement thing, that's why I went on and I check it out just to see what they did with the money. But a guy that I worked with, he lived down the street from my parents, and him and I was talking about that, and he started laughing. He said, "Dude," he said, "I'm gonna tell you what happened." He said they took your money, and he said they split it up with the employees that was there. He said that's what they did with it, because it was like
That's
at the
crazy.
time, and this was, oh man, this was years ago, but at the time it was like 2,500. And I'm like, yo, I
Mm,
could use that right now. And I
right.
went, searching, and he just up and told me. He said, "Man, you know how they is out there, man, and this and that, and it was really, I guess I can say it on here. It was a racist company I worked for, very, very racist. And the dude, he told me, he said, "Man, you're gonna have hell getting your money back." He told me this. And
Mm,
he said you ain't the only one. He said they've done other employees like that too who has left. And he said they come out there and they try to get their money. And he said by the time, and he said, and if you got an attorney, by the time the attorney went, he said they didn't dispense that money to everybody else that's still there. They're putting it in their accounts. And I'm like, "Oh,
that's crazy.
yeah." Well, hey man, you got to realize, man, I'm
Mm.
here in Texas, man.
You know what? And that's exactly what I'm thinking. Like, how is this possible? But what I have been told is that state they have their own rules, so I guess it's possible.
Oh, yeah. Oh man, do they? Yeah, man. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you don't share some things with me that yeah. Like, if I live in Texas, I need to be very careful about getting into certain relationships,
Yeah, yeah,
and we gonna leave it at
yeah.
that.
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
Because you can go down and tell somebody what, and I never even said I do, and then because, the time that I spent with you now it's the issue as well as if I had said I do?
yeah,
Absolutely not. Nah, we're not playing that game. I don't know what they got going on in Texas, but, oh, no, no, no.
yeah. They
Mm-mm, we can
they have their own rules here. I can say that.
I see that, cause yeah, no, not unless I signed some paper and stood in front of a judge and said those words, I don't see how it's possible, but, hey,
Yeah,
it is in certain states. Pennsylvania, you need to be careful too. All right, so, yeah, this is, Wind Down Wednesday, that's exactly what we getting ready to do, and what I'm realizing that, people have been taking Wind Down Wednesday to a whole nother level. This is week 2. I don't even know how this happens, but there are no coincidences that we are going down the same path once again.
yeah,
So, ladies and gentlemen, I need you to be very careful when it comes to your alcohol consumption and what you do. You can have a little bit of everything you want in life. You just can't get too crazy over any one thing, whether that be food, whether that be money, whether that be a relationship, whether that be sex, whether that be the internet, whether that be alcohol. You just can't get too crazy over any one thing. It's good to have nice things, but don't let nice things have you. So let's get into tonight's assignment. Wow. It says, Dear Laren, Wind Down Wednesday started as a cute thing with my girls, a glass of Moscato, some laughs, and venting about work. But it's turning into a ritual that's draining me instead of filling me. Every Wednesday, we hit a lounge or a wine bar in between Ubers, charcuterie boards, and bottles. I'm dropping at least $150 a week. That's rent money over a month gone just to unwind. The kicker, I don't even enjoy it like I used to. Half of the time, I'm stressing about overdraft fees while sipping Chardonnay. I'm gaining weight from the late night eats. My skin is breaking out from all of the sugar and the wine. And mentally, I feel like I'm stuck on a hamster wheel. Work, stress, drink, repeat. Y'all heard that right? Work, stress, drink, repeat. Spiritually, I know God's been nudging me to slow down and check myself, but the group chat pressure is real. If I say no, I get hit with, oh, you're acting brand new, or don't let a budget kill your vibe. So here's my raw truth. How do I step back without losing my friendships? And what healthier wind down rituals can I create that won't wreck my bank account, body, and peace of mind? Because right now, the hangovers, wow, because right now the hangovers aren't just physical, they're financially, mental, and spiritual too. I'm going to take that from the top. This is Latasha from Baltimore, Maryland. Says, Wind Down Wednesday started as a cute thing with my girls, a glass of Moscato, some laughs, and venting about work. But it's turning into a ritual that's draining me instead of filling me. Every Wednesday, we hit a lounge or a wine bar, and between Ubers, charcuterie boards, and bottles, I'm dropping at least $150 a week. That's rent money over a month, going just to unwind. The kicker, I don't even enjoy it like I used to. Half of the time, I'm stressing about overdraft fees while sipping Chardonnay. I've gained weight from the late night eats. My skin is breaking out from all of the sugar in the wine. And mentally, I feel like I'm stuck on a hamster wheel. Work, stress, drink, repeat. Work, stress, drink, repeat. Spiritually, I know God's been nudging me to slow down and check myself, but the group chat pressure is real. If I say no, I get hit with, oh, you acting brand new. Or don't let a budget kill your vibe. So here's my raw truth. How do I step back without losing my friendships? And what healthier wind down rituals can I create that won't wreck my bank account, my body, and my peace of mind? Because right now,
Hmm?
the hangovers aren't just physical, they're financial, mental, and spiritual too. All right. So, what you got, Birdman?
That's nah. I was laughing at it because I'm like, when I first read it, I'm like, this was last week. Oh, okay then. Then I read on, about it. But personally, and like I said, I a lot of stuff I may say tonight is because I'm gonna talk about me because there were some things that I was doing, and because I've been I was an drug and alcohol counselor. I can say some things that I seen. And first of all and foremost, what caught my eye was when she said she want to keep her friends. And they said that, oh, you
Mm,
trying to act brand new or your budget. I mean, she gotta realize that she has to take care of herself first and foremost. And if that means she gonna lose her friends, bye bye, because they weren't your friends. And I've said this, I've
exactly.
always said this, that if you trying to better yourself and the people that's around you, they can't accept that, then you don't need them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and
Yeah.
because I
You
I'm gonna
said a
tell you,
lot right there.
yeah, the quick story was I was doing that something like that every Friday or Saturday. I was hanging out at this guy's house. There was several of us, and we would stand around, smoke and drink, barbecue, play dominoes, and that was like every Friday or Saturday. Then one day, one of them found out. No, they all found out I was writing, and I had put my first poetry book out. And one day, me and the dude, we were standing by his truck, and we was talking. And he said, "You know what, man?" I'm like, "What?" He said, "20 years from now, we're gonna be standing right here, doing the same thing, talking about what we could have done if we don't make a change." And he said, "I'm talking about making a change now." And I thought about that. So, he okay, he was the weed man. Okay, put it like that. So after I got what I wanted, we went and sat back down and hung out. And all of a sudden, I just started feeling feeling. I'm like, man, I'm gonna go ahead and go on home. So I went home.
Mm,
I got in my vehicle. I threw in some Isley Brothers, got to jamming, and I got to thinking. And I'm like, that made a lot of sense. For that little bit, what he said, it stuck in my
mm,
mind. And that next day, I was, well, matter of fact, that night, I was on the computer looking for, poetry sites, places I could send my poetry. The next day, I just started doing that. And then that next week, couple weekends, they didn't see me. I think the guy that my friend, it was like I stayed away for like 3 months, and then I came around, and he said, "Dude, you all right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "Was something that you said?" And he said, "Yeah." So I asked him, had he been? He said, "I haven't been over there in like a month." And it was like we dispersed. And yeah, some of the guys, they was laughing, talking about, "Oh, he ain't no poet, blah blah blah, this and that." Then he one day he told me, he said, "Man, y'all need to chill, man." Because I've been reading his stuff on the internet. He been putting stuff out there, and said he had one book, so now he got 4 books. So he's doing something right. But I had to make that change,
mm-hmm.
and if that meant losing friends, then that's what I did. And that's what she needs to do. She's trying to satisfy her friends or her so-called friends. And I just thought about what my dad used to say. He used to tell me all the time. He said, "You got money, you're gonna always have people around you." He said, "Get broke," or he said, "Stop spending your money." And he
Ooh,
said, "See what happens." He said, "See if they gonna want to be around you." And I thought about that. And my mom, because when my dad passed away, then my mom, she was like, "Remember what your dad said?" And I looked at her, I'm like, "How you, And I'm like, "Yeah, okay, then what's going on?" And she said, "As soon as you stop spending your money around them, and you'll see that they start leaving you." Because my mom will say, "You don't go out like you used to no more. What's up? You don't have no friends?" So, and then that's when she hit me with, "Yep, see what your dad told you?" And I thought about it,
mm,
and I'm like, "Wow, man." I said, the old man talk crazy sometimes, but all that craziness was real. To me it was,
yeah.
yeah, to me it was crazy, but it wasn't crazy. I thought it was. And like for her, and she need to find her like on Wednesdays, instead of going drinking wine, start knitting or crocheting or something. It don't always have to be you got to go drink wine. If you got to go drink all the time, oh, it's gonna get to you eventually, one way or the other. It's gonna get you. It's gonna get you in your pocket. It's gonna get you in your health. You're gonna lose friends, and if you lose friends because of it, they never were your friends from the beginning.
And yeah, that is absolutely right. You can't lose something that you never had to begin with.
Exactly.
Mm. Now, I before I get into it, I just want to know what happened to the casual social drink. Like, I don't think we speak about like what it means to have a social drink. That's like one or two drinks, and then that's we calling it a day.
Yes.
Like this letter here is absolutely ridiculous, and I'm gonna give my take on it. But there's no social, there's no casual drink, there's like let's have a conversation and we had okay, two is the most, but one or two drinks, that's it. I don't see
Right.
that. So Wine Down Wednesday started as a cute thing with my girls with a glass. See that? A glass of Moscato, some laughs and venting about work.
Mhm.
Okay, now that sounds all right.
Right.
And remember when I said in the beginning, it's good to have nice things, but don't let nice things have you.
Right.
Like here's where it was okay to have a glass of wine, but now you let the wine have you. Like
Exactly.
you have to be in control of this situation. And it turned into a ritual that's draining instead of filling me. So I had this conversation again this past week. If there's anything in your life that does not work for you, that is not serving your purpose, that is causing you stress, that is causing you anxiety, that's causing you anything other than love, peace, joy, happiness, like the song of the day, Be Happy, get rid of it. I will repeat that again. If there is anything in your life that is causing you stress, anxiety, depression, anything that is not from God, which is love, peace, happiness, joy, you have to remove that thing from your life ASAP because it will consume you. God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of sound mind. So anything other than love, that is from the enemy and absolutely not. So here you clearly know that something is draining you and not filling you, but you're continuing to go along with the plan. That's where we have to have a conversation. Now, every Wednesday, you hit a wine bar, Ubers, popping bottles, and you're dropping at least $150 a week. And you know that this is basically rent money, but we're still going along with the plan. This is clearly somebody who does not know who they are because I don't know who I'm speaking to, but I'm only speaking from experience. But I used to be that person where you know full well you shouldn't have gotten a car, but you did it anyway. And the whole way there, you're stressing and going back and forth and praying and asking God to give you a level of protection when you know you shouldn't have gotten there anyway. The question that I have to ask is why? Now, the kicker is I don't even enjoy it like I used to. Half of the time, I'm here we go again, stressing about overdraft fees, sipping Chardonnay. Have you ever, Birdman, have you ever went somewhere and you know you didn't have money to go, but you were sitting there flexing and acting like you did, and the whole time you were sitting there going back and forth in your mind, how am I gonna get out of this?
Yes, yes, yes. Yes, I have.
That's what this reminds me of.
Right,
Now,
right.
go ahead.
No, I was
Go
just
ahead.
saying, like I said, I've been through it, and I can say that, you know, I guess I when I get a certain feeling about things, I normally back off because I always learn that that's a sign that you need to back off.
You know what that is? That's God speaking to you, saying absolutely not.
Right. And so like I've learned to do that. Don't get me wrong. Yes, I've made mistakes. Yes, I've done things. And sometimes I went on and did it anyway, but I regret it. And I'm like, oh man,
Hmm.
why did I do that? Why didn't I listen to that inner voice?
Yes, that intuition, that inner voice,
Right.
that God spirit speaking to you, saying, "Listen, now I need you to listen to this right now."
Yes. And
Wow.
I'm getting better at, saying no. Um like you were saying, you had to learn how to tell people no. Um I had to learn that too. And
And,
eventually, I like I said, I've lost. And then you know what? A lot of these people I didn't even consider my friends. They were just what I call associates. And
mm-hmm,
my
mm-hmm.
dad used to, and he used to always say, he said you will have at any time in your life. He said you will have five friends. He said everybody else is associates. And he said The problem is you got to identify which are your five friends.
Wow.
Like that. And I mean, like I said, I tell people he didn't go to school. I mean, my parents they had to drop out of school,
Mm-hmm.
but my dad he learned, and he would tell me stuff like that, and I found that's true. That you know, personally, I feel like I may have 3 or 4 friends, and even the ones that I thought were my friends, it's more like we are associates now. Like the ones that I went to school with, that hung out in school, and we may talk every once in a while. I don't even consider them my good friends no more. I just consider them associates.
Mm. I Yeah, I like that. I like what your father told you about the 5 friends that you'll have. You'll have 5 friends, and everyone else is associates. And remember, and this always sticks with me, you are an average of the 5 closest people that you hang out with on a daily
Yes.
basis.
And he would say, you know who your number one friend is. That's God. He's always your friend. He said, and your number
Mm,
two friend should be your spouse, wife, whoever you're with. And then after that, he said you can break it down. Your kids are not your friends. Your cousins are not your friends. Like he would, like I said, he would say things. My mom would say things, and I'd be like, "Man, y'all must be talking to each other," knowing they were. But these are the things, like I said, these are the things that they would say to me.
mm-hmm.
And my dad used to, like, he used to always say, he said, because I one time I said, "Dad, you don't have no friends coming to your house." He said, "There's a reason," and I'm like, "Oh yeah."
Mm.
He said, "Yeah." He said, "First of all, I got my wife in there," and he said, "The
Mm.
second of all, they don't." He said, "When they come over here," he said, "I don't need nobody looking around inside my house at what I have." And I thought about that. I'm like,
I
that makes a lot of sense. And I didn't ask. I didn't ask
another.
him no more about it. I ain't asked no more about his friends. I knew who his friends were because they always, like he could go, or we could go to their house. They would come to our house, and like I said, he only had a few. Like when boxing was coming on, he had his few friends and check this out. They would have a fifth of Johnny Walker. They would have
Mm-hmm.
one drink. My dad would say, "You allowed one drink from my house." you know,
Oh, see, he wasn't playing. Yeah, he wasn't playing.
yeah, you got one drink, and you sit there, and they act like they had
and
sense. Sit there
I was
laughing
just
and
you
talking.
took the words right out of my mouth. You sit there and act like you got some sense. You took the words right out of my mouth. Wow.
They would sip. They would
Wow.
sip on it. Dad said, "Here's the Johnny Walker." He said, "I'm not pouring no man his drink. You pour your own troubles." And he said, "Here's the Coke to mix it with." He said, "Now, if you can't mix that
Mm.
drink," he said, "Hey, I'm letting you know now." He said, "You can't drink it here." And he would only allow if it was mixed.
Oh yeah. Hmm.
And they would sit there and they fix their little drinks. And then the dad would take the bottle. I knew where he hid it at, always behind the couch.
Mm.
And I'm like,
I-
that was social. That's what he used to say. This is sociable drinking,
That's what I mean. Like, what happened to the one or two?
right?
This one here, they doing $150 a week, and again, like like a home setting. You're sitting here asking all of these questions about how do you do this cheaper. Well, maybe if you had a bottle to yourself, not saying that you got to have the whole bottle, but maybe that bottle would last you, maybe a week. I don't know, maybe 2 weeks, depending if you preserve it the right way. Maybe if you had decent friends that were your real friends, They can come to your house. You can go to their house. You don't have to go to these wine bars. You don't have to be bouncing all over the place, spending 150 a week. That's ridiculous. I mean, I saw, wine bottles 70, and of course they go even higher than that. But I don't know what they're drinking or what they're doing, but 150 is a lot.
Yeah, well, yes. That's what you know. That's true. And I remember when I worked when I first got out of college, I was playing semi pro ball, and I also was working at Oldsmobile. So I would when certain movies came on, it was only three people that came to my place, and we all worked together and we played ball together. And it was three guys that would come over to my apartment. We would sit there and we'll pitch in. They say, "Hey, nah, man, how much this bottle costs? How much the pizza costs?" And they would pitch in. They would throw in, so it wouldn't be on all on one person.
Mm-hmm.
And we would sit there, and they would have two drinks. We'll watch what we want, something on eight. That's when HBO first came out, man. I know you probably don't remember
Uh-huh.
that, but we would watch HBO. We would watch fighting. We would watch like concerts that was on HBO,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how we did it. And it wasn't no just 150. Yeah, like you said, 150. That's quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing that evidently she must be by herself.
And that's what
Because
that's what she's spending. So I don't know what the others are spending. So now that raises another question: are you the only one shelling out money, and the other ones aren't? How much a friend are they really? Because maybe she's the only one
exactly,
paying for things. That's a
and
problem.
evidently she don't have anybody because of. I mean, I'm just saying, I don't know. She might have an old man and he goes his way and she go her way. Who knows? Because I know couples that are like that were like that. Where they go hang out with their girlfriends, and the guys go hang out with the male friends, and but and then I noticed she said something about that's her, her bank account is stretchy. I mean, hey man, your bank account alone should be the one speaking to you, telling you need to back off.
Well, here, speaking of backing off, she says, spiritually, I know God's been nudging me to slow down and check myself, but the group chat pressure is real. So that's a bad statement right there. I'm gonna read that again. Spiritually, I know that God has been nudging me. Let's just change the words a little bit for people who want to hear it a different way, like I do. Spiritually, I know God's been telling me to slow down and check myself, but the group chat pressure is real. So, who are you listening to? Who's more important, your friends or God? I don't even understand that statement right there. When you know full well that he's telling you, let's not do this, but you just gonna go ahead and cave into what your friends have to say.
I do understand that. I understand that because like I said, I talked to people who've been in this situation before, and I tell them, I'm like, if you hearing these things, who is more important, your friends or God? That's how I always tell them.
Mm,
Who's more important? And if it's your friends, okay, go be with your friends. And when things happen, you're gonna find out how much they're gonna be there helping you out.
mm,
And like I said, I mean, how come they can't go to a movie? Instead of drinking wine, they go get together and they go to a movie, or they go to dinner without the drinks,
yeah.
or she take up knitting, sit at home and knit, and she'll find out how much money how much money she can save, or crochet. I
Yeah.
mean, those are most of the people. They want to prove to everybody that they balling. Put it like that.
Yeah.
And,
And
and you know what? When I like I said, when I was hanging with my friends, I would sit back and I was like, okay, let me put this aside for that, and put this aside for that, and put this aside for that. And then I would go out and I would only take what I could afford to spend.
Mm-hmm.
And then one time I caught myself, well, it's a bank right around the corner. I'll be right back. Zip around the bank, pull out some money.
I
And
know.
then
Yep.
I'm like, man, I'm just really, hurting myself. And like I said, once my friend, matter of fact, him and I talked about this earlier this year. I went out to see him, and I was telling him, I said, hey man, I said, you remember when you said if we didn't change what we were doing, we would be standing right here 20 years from now talking about what we could have done. And he
Mm-hmm.
said, you still remember that? I'm like, yeah, dude. I said, man, that changed me because his wife had walked out on him. And, like at first he just, oh man, she left me, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, okay. And then he finally told me, he said, hey man, not staying at home and, you know, doing this and doing that. And I'm like, yeah, I said, I understand. Now he stay at home, and he's doing the things he's supposed to be doing, and his outcome is coming out better.
Right. Right. That's good. Yeah, you never know. Like sometimes a message or a word can come from anybody. He didn't even know that he was going to help change the whole path of, your life basically with that conversation right there.
Right, right. And then he went on and he followed up. And like I said, cause when I had been 3 months since I had been over, and I said, man, how do doing? He said, oh man, he said, he said, man, it's the same old man, the same dudes hanging around, And he said cause his wife told both of them was married, and the wife told his wife, she said, well, I'm tired of coming home and all I see is a bunch of ends sitting in
I
my yard every day, playing domino, smoking, drinking, and barbecuing.
I remember you
And,
telling me that story.
yeah, and he said he had to take a look at himself to figure out why his wife left him.
I'm over I'm over what she said. Wait, tell us one more time what she said when she came home.
She said she told him, and it was he said it was and he said how his wife is telling the truth because one day she came home, got out the car, slammed the door to the car, and said, I'm tired of a bunch of ends sitting in my yard every day. I come home from work and there's a bunch of them sitting around here. You're barbecuing, you're smoking weed, you're drinking, and you're playing dominoes, you're hollering, you got the music blasting. She was, you know, hey, and
Oh
she left
man.
him. And you know what? She left him, and she left him for good.
Yeah.
And he couldn't understand why she did it. And the other guy, the one that was good, really, really tight friends with him, said, hey man, he said, well, she got a point, man. He said, look how many people you have over here daily. He said, man, sometimes she just want to spend time with you. Oh man,
Exactly. Hmm.
and then, oh man, they go home about 10, 11, and her is our time. He said, nah, he said, you missed the point. And his wife never came back.
Yeah. Imagine waking up, coming downstairs, and realizing that you don't even know who's in your house sleeping on your couch.
Hey, and then one time I went over there, man, to get me some smoke. He's sitting up there, man. He was nodding out, boom, boom. I'm like, man, let me get up out here because if something come up missing, and he gonna say, well, hey, I know you was here. And I and I
Oh
and I
yeah.
told and I
Mhm.
told I told my friend, I said, hey man, I told him what happened. And he told him, he said, man, he said, you remember him being on? Nah, I don't remember. He said, you don't remember? He said, oh man. He said he came over, got some. He said, you were nah. Said, so he left. He said, but you know what? He said, you better be glad it was him. He said, because it was anybody else. He said that he said they
Exactly.
would have got because he had like 3 pounds of weed in the house. And he said, they would
Exactly.
have got you,
Exactly.
man. He said, man, you need to thank him for
Hmm.
that. He said, because he just walked out. He said he ain't that kind of guy, man. And I even locked the door. I locked it. locked the door, the bottom lock, and walked on out. I even locked the door for him.
Mm, exactly. Yeah, that's a good point. Wow.
And in the last time I seen him, I didn't even recognize. I like, damn man, how you doing? Yeah, man. He said, yeah, man. He told me you doing all right now. I'm like, yeah. He said, I seen you gain some weight. I'm like, yeah, man. The older you get, sometimes that happens. He says, oh, he said, so you doing all right? I'm like, yeah. Then he ain't had nothing else to say.
Yeah, you ever see people that you went to school with, people that thought that they were on top, people thought that they were balling, and then you look at them and you be like, "Oh wow, what happened to you?"
Yeah. Oh
N-
man. Yes. Yes. Yes.
not that you want, to see the demise of somebody else, but I thought that you were the it girl. Like, why you look like that?
Hey.
We
Oh
used to
man.
chase you. Why you look like that?
Hey, that's what I tell people. I said, man, I look back. I said, man, some of the females that I had crushes on. I'm like, man, I said somebody was telling me you don't want that.
Mm.
I'm like,
I saw
oh man, yeah, yeah.
I saw somebody from high school this year in the store,
Uh,
and I was thrown back. When I say thrown back, and I'm like, wow, I've always wanted to go to my high school reunion, but they never did one. So I'm like, wow, this is what I'm seeing, and I haven't even gone to a high school reunion. I can't even imagine.
yeah.
Not that you want to see somebody, but it's always the ones that thought that they were all that or this, that, the next, the other, and then you see them and you be like,
I
mm.
went to one of my high school reunion, and I said, you know what? I'm not going back. I did one of my college. I did one of my college. Matter of fact, my college, they just had their reunion a couple weeks ago. And they was like, oh, we sure missed you. I'm like, how you miss me? And I ain't seen you in over 50 years. It seems like that. It just seems like that. But a lot of them said, and there's one lady I talked to, she said, oh, your name came up several times. I'm like, whoa. She said, no, no, no. So they was talking about, they remember when you was here playing ball. And so they talked about, well, how good of a player you were. And said, and then somebody else said, well, no, he got a bunch of poetry books out. He do videos. He be going here, there. And they was like, oh, well, that's good. And man, I seen the pictures and I was like, man, I don't even know half these people. And this one lady, if she hadn't said where she was standing at, man, when she was in college, oh man, all the guys was like, dang, man. And this one guy, he got with her and they got married. I seen the picture of our reunion and I'm like, whoa. I mean, like, man, what happened to her, man? Looked like she got hit by a train. Hate to say it like that, man, but it was just,
I know what you mean.
man. I'm
Yeah.
like, well, I said, hell, I know I ain't no Prince Charming, but I'm like, yeah, man. Some of these people, we're the same age, and some of them look like they like 4, 5, 6 years older than I am.
Mm.
And yeah,
Well, yeah, it it goes to show that we need to humble ourselves because we never know.
right. And see, like this
So-
lady here talking about she's adding weight. She's gonna start having wrinkles in a few. Cause they're gonna creep and she gonna start
oh,
stressing out and her blood pressure gonna be high. That's why I said the physical part is her blood pressure gonna start going
oh
up.
yeah.
And you could tell that she do have some spiritual feelings, but she's not listening.
Hmm.
She's not
Yeah.
listening to what is being said to her. And by her friends saying what they're saying, she's not gonna listen. And she probably done told one of them about it, and they told everybody about it, and they're all like, oh no, man, and they all probably saying we can't let her go because she's spending that money.
you know. Oh, you're right about that. I love the fact that you brought in a physical aspect about it. Since we're focusing on the physical, this month here. That's a good point because the stressing. Now, first of all, let's back it up. The excessive drinking, the stressing about money, the late nights, not getting the rest that you need. All of that stuff will tie into affecting your physical realm. So that's a good point. Here she is letting us know that it's affecting her financially, it's affecting her mentally, and it's affecting her spiritually. But she neglected to bring up. Oh no! Oh, she did also say the physical. I take that back. So she did say the physical. She's having hangovers and all of that nonsense. But
Right.
I want to highlight you for recognizing that physical aspect about it because that's a key component as
Yeah.
well. And the fact that you highlight that you can tell that this she's a spiritual, she has that spiritual connection, but she's basically avoiding it. She's doing what she wants to do instead of listening to that inner voice.
Right. And she's in right, and you could and that's why I say you could kind of tell she's alone because she said that they be saying, "Oh, I guess she meant a lot of words. You think you better than us." She didn't put it like that, but that's what they're trying to say. You think you better than us, and you could tell that she's alone in a lot of ways.
Exactly. Alone because she doesn't know who she is, and that's the thing, and she's a people pleaser at this moment. And I think you cracked the code here. I think that she's spending money on people because how can you spend over $500 a month?
Yeah,
I'm sorry, one, two, three, four, almost $600 a
yeah,
month. How could you do that
exactly.
on on alcohol?
You know,
That's a lot of
and
money.
really, what she needs to do, and it is just okay. She needs to find out who really her friends is, and just stay away from them for a while. If they call her, then they call her and say, "Hey, how you doing? We ain't seen you." Blah blah blah. Then she know they care about her. But if they don't call her, if they do call her and say, "So when you're coming out again, we're going to have some drinks," then she'll know right then that, oh, okay, you only want me for the money issue or the
Hmm.
financial part.
That is a good point. And I'll take it back to where we started in the beginning of the show, the top of the show. The people who get upset when you start to set boundaries are the ones who benefited from you when you didn't have any.
Hey, that's it. Because
People who get upset at you,
right,
they are the ones who benefited from you not having any to begin with.
yeah, and like I said, right now, as far as friends, hey, my friends is the computer, poetry, and music. Those are my friends. God is always that's number one.
Hmm.
Diana number two. But other than that, it's my computers and because I'm writing, I'm working on videos, I'm playing music now. Those are my friends right there.
I I listened to a podcaster. He put a video out this past weekend and he said he is 57 years old and he has zero friends.
Yeah,
And I'll repeat that again. He said he is 57 years old and he has zero friends. And mind you, he's a millionaire. Now, he said that he would not be a millionaire if he listened to what his friends were saying and if he continued to accumulate the amount of friends he had when he was in his 30s and 40s, but he knew that something needed to change in his life and what he wanted to do was to be separated and do something different. So he started to subtract the friends who were subtracting from him. And because he did that, he says he is 57 years old and he has zero friends and he's okay with that. Now, the amount of money that he has accumulated, not that money is everything, he says he can go to a bar, he can eat, he can do whatever he needs to do, and he can interact with the people who he chooses to interact with. But then when he wants to cut it off and pack up and get up and go home, he can go back to his situation, his sanctuary. But he was very confident and happy, saying that he was 57 years old and he had zero friends. Now, back when I was in my 30s, late 30s, before I hit the 40s, when everything, all hell broke loose. Throughout my 30s, I was criticized. I was ridiculed. I don't even know if I'm saying the right words, but God has just given me what I need to, get this across to people. But I was made fun of, all types of things for saying, Laren, you have zero friends. You don't have enough friends. And I was linked up with, I was shacked up with, I was wrapped up and trapped up with somebody who had thousands of friends, and it was a constant revolving door, and I couldn't even think straight because there was a lot of nonsense going on. And I was made to look out that I was the one who had a problem because I could count all my friends on one hand versus somebody who had so-called friends and they were all over the place. They didn't know whether they were coming or going half the time. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, that's like with me. I can see the mistakes I made when I was younger, you know, and a lot of them was trying to satisfy someone that who no matter what I did, she always, she always, and I found this out later, she always had somebody on the side. And
Mm,
man, that was kind of that hurted, but then I got over it and I moved on. And she laughed at me writing too for a while, and her cousins had told her, say, "Oh, you can laugh all you want now," I said, but he looked like he doing well for himself. And I think about it and I'm like, damn man, what really made me kind of like I couldn't see through the forest because of the trees.
I like that right there. I
You
like that
know,
right there.
and that's just like, you know, normally we travel, but things has came up where we ain't been able to go out of state. And this past Saturday, man, I just, I had been saying I'm going to the beach, I'm going to the beach, and it was eating at me. And dude, I left. I said, hey, I told us I'm going to the beach. I charged up my video camera, charged up my phone, and I jumped in my vehicle, plugged my phone up to listen to my music, got on the road. Well, I knew it was something trying to tell me, trying to see how weak I was to turn around. It started raining.
Mm,
And then I'm like, man, you know what? I'm going to keep going. So I kept going. And the more I traveled, the rain would stop. So I get to the beach and it is jam packed. And so then I'm like, okay, I'm going to find a spot where I can shoot. I don't care. I just want to shoot me some videos of the ocean and take some pictures. And I rode, and the way this beach is broken up into four sections. One of the sections you actually have to be a resident there to go in there. And I found that out the last time I was there. And I said, ain't nobody around. Let me go through here. Let me go up here right quick and shoot these videos. I went in there and I shot like 10 videos right quick. And when I say that, because normally my videos are like, they're in section 30 seconds long, but because I can edit, I can put them together. When you see a video, it's longer than that. So I went in there, got my 30 seconds, took some pictures, went down in my vehicle, so I went down and I'm like, you know what? I'm going over here to this spot since I couldn't get over here. Got out. I took my phone in, shot me some video, took me some pictures. Then I went to this one spot. I think it was meant for me to be there because when I first started going to that beach, that's where I went. And it brought back a lot of
mm,
memories of when my pet chihuahua, the guy who got me back off in the plane, the base. We'd be down there, and I would go and take my chihuahua, and run him around, and I sit there, man. And I shot videos, took pictures, sit in the car, listen to music. It was so relaxing. On my way back, you couldn't see a drop of water nowhere. And I'm like,
You see that?
you know what? It was, they just, I think, I feel like I was being tested. You know, okay, if it's raining,
Mm-hmm.
oh, he gonna turn around and go back. And I didn't. You know, I just kept going. And then there was no parking place. But then I found a spot where I could sit there and nobody bothered me. I didn't bother nobody. You know, everybody was just doing what they was doing. And amen, I had an enjoyable time. And matter of fact, I don't know if I put that video on, but I'm gonna if it's not on there, I'm gonna put it on Instagram either tonight or tomorrow. But I did a video because I wanted this particular video, and actually it was the right time. And for me, just going down to the beach, and I don't have to have nobody with me because even when Diana's with me, is no disrespect towards her. I still feel like I'm alone because I'm into me, you know.
I know what you
And
mean.
and a lot of times I have my I be listening to my music, and that's just the way I am. And she knows this, and she don't get mad. She just say, "Hey, long you having a good time, you safe, blah blah blah." Hey, it's all right. And that's what I did. And it's like there's gonna be like at least three more videos from what I shot this past weekend, and I'm gonna use it with poems. I'm putting it all together. And I hope
You
to have
you
I'm thinking about having a bass beat. That's what I'm working on to go with one of them. Like I did one of the poems I did last week or week before last.
Yeah, there ain't nothing wrong with that. Knowing, what works for you, what makes you happy, taking care of yourself. That's part of your self care ritual, your self care routine.
Yeah,
And, when you do those things and when you pour into those things, you're able to be everything that you need to be for the people around
yeah.
you.
And there was a
So,
time when I always wanted people. I'm like, man, I feel lonely because there's no one with me.
exactly.
Now,
Yep, I know what you mean.
now I don't feel that way, man. She'll tell you I can go to the beach every day by myself and be happy, happy,
So
happy.
I'm not saying I'm not around a lot of people, work, of
Yeah,
course, and family. But when it comes to friends, not that many. When I interact with people, that I meet here on the podcast, when I go out, when I'm traveling, that's one thing.
right.
Um, but there are times where between work, between family, between you know out and about, sometimes I'll be like, guess what? I don't even want to be bothered.
Right.
Like, sometimes I don't even want to be bothered. So I get it.
Yeah. Because like when
But
we go to Vegas, there's one guy we played baseball together in college. And we'll go have dinner with him, and then boom, we're gone, I'm gone. And then we're there at the casino, and it's just us, and we're watching each other's back. I've had people say, "Oh man, we ought to get together," and then we agree, yeah. And then later on, she'd be like, "Do you really want to go with somebody?" I'm like, "Nope, not really,"
mm.
you know. And then when we go to L.A., I have, because I do poetry and I've done a lot out there. There's certain poets I'll contact. They say, "Oh, when you in town, let me know, and we can go to a reading together." And that's it. We'll go to a reading, meet up at the reading, chat then, and then I'll say, "Hey, and they say, "Yeah, you can shoot the video of me." I shoot the video, and then when it's over with, whoop, they go their way, I go my way, and I don't. It's only one time that I hung out with some guys one time for a couple of hours, afterwards. Other than that, I go back to the hotel, hang out. Diana and I will, we'll go down the lobby and maybe have a margarita, or or I'm up in the room and I'm transferring everything I did that day on my computer, and we just sitting in the room. I don't need a bunch of friends no more.
Right. Right. I listen, I know exactly what you mean. Like I said, I was like almost tricked into thinking that there was something wrong with me. And then, there was this great spiritual awakening in 2020. And then I realized that no, you got it wrong. You following the enemy's plan. I'm following God's plan. So there's a big difference between that. And, you know, the good book always says know thyself. So you need to know who you are. And I've always said when you don't know who you are, people, especially the narcissist personality, the narcissist spirit will pick up and recognize when somebody doesn't know who they are. And that's when they become attached to, they latch on, and they will pick you up and shape you and mold you almost like silly putty or Play Doh into the person that they want you to be. And then God gives us all, that 1 ounce of righteousness in us, and something happens and we become awakened, and that 1% starts to grow, and we realize, oh, no, 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 I didn't sign up for this. What is this? Who is this person? I don't even like the person that I look at when I'm staring in a mirror. I got to fix this. And then that's when all types of hell breaks loose, because you realize that you signed up for the enemy's plan and that's not you.
Right. And like I
So
said, I tell people, first of all, man, just read your couple scriptures out the Bible daily. I mean, you don't have to read a whole thing. Just read a couple lines to start off, and then you'll find yourself, that's like, I guess I don't want to say it's a habit, but it's something that you will, and when you the days that you don't do it, you will feel like something is missing. and
yeah,
and
yeah.
that's how it is
Hmm.
with me, where I read a couple scripture, a couple lines, something. Sometimes I read the whole, like whole chapter, and some days I don't. But long I read something, I know
Hmm.
I say I'm good to go now. And it's like today I went in my music room, back there playing my music, talked to one of my sons, and then I got on the bass and I just got to playing, and I'm listening to music, and I just played. Then I came out here, and I said, now it's time to relax. Oh, I did my little exercise thing, and then I said, it's time to relax and think about which videos I'm gonna use and which poems I'm gonna use. And that's basically my day right there. Most of the days, that's my days.
That sounds awesome to me. You doing exactly what you love to do. That's amazing. I love it.
And if I could talk to her, I would tell her, you know what, you need to find new friends. That's that, and you
Yeah,
know what,
new.
that's just the bottom line right there. I mean, we could say all these other things, but she need to find new friends.
Hmm.
And I tell people that, man, hey man, maybe that friend is not your friend. You know
Yeah, I want to say I submit that she needs to find herself, because she doesn't know who she is.
exactly.
Because anybody that knows who they are from the spiritual realm, they won't sign up for this kind of stuff.
And
You start to know.
yeah, because and then plus I had some friends who told me one time their sons was playing with this team, his city league football team, and so my sons was playing with the same team at different ages. They had, it was the summer, the football, this summer league before they get in junior high school. And he said, you know what, man? He said, this is what I found out. People there know I have a little money. And he said, even though I don't have no kids playing in there, He said, I was supporting the kids. He said, but the parents started taking advantage of me and this other guy. Because the other guy, he did have a son playing there. And that's how my sons met his sons, met his son. And he said, only reason why they was nice to us because we had money. And this is before you put your boys in on the team. And he said, hey man, he said, you wouldn't believe how much money we spent.
Mm.
And the other guy, he said, hey man, he said, I took my son off the team. And they got mad because he took his son off the team. And the guy said, nah, he said, you ain't mad because he said, I know what you're mad about, but I ain't spending no more money on you or with.
Mm. That's craziness.
Yes. And you'll find out a lot of, like I said, man, you'll find out. And I tell my kids this all the time. I'm like, hey man, you'll realize who your real friends are. I said, if you broke and they don't care and they still hang out with you even when you broke, it's okay, then they're your friends. But if when you broke and they don't want to hang out with you, that ain't your friend, man. And
Mm.
I told one of my
That.
sons, I said, man, I even go for your girlfriend, man. I said, if she don't want to be around you when you broke, I'm like, dude, you don't need her. He's, oh, but damn, man, I'm getting it, man. I said, you know what, man? I said, dude, see, you thinking, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you had that giggle in there.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I said, you thinking the wrong way, man. I said, hey, I said,
Yeah.
trust me. I said, that's why when my dad used to say things, I'd be like, oh man, how you know all this? And then my dad said, hey, come on. He'll say, come on, man, let's go for a ride. Because my mom always be standing in the doorway listening. Yeah, let's go for a ride. And we would go to this one restaurant. We'll sit there. He's, oh, we're gonna eat here. So we're gonna have a talk. And then he would tell me the reason why he said them things. He said, but that don't mean you go back and tell your
Mhm.
mama. I said, Dad, I'm not gonna do that. So when I tell my sons, I'm like, dude, I said, man, I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's your brother or sister. If they don't want to be around you when you broke, don't let them come around you when you have a little money.
I know that's right. Wow. Well, I mean, we definitely laid it out here. I'm sure that uh Latasha here, I don't know. Again, this is not something that can happen overnight. It's easier said than done. I know that there's many Latashas out there listening who will pick up this replay, who have been going through it, been through it, trying to get out of it. But I say that this is classic spiritual warfare, and it's going to take some prayer. It's going to take some action into wanting to do a little bit different. And when I say prayer, that's because you fighting up against people that you are in a workplace with. You spending a lot of time with these people on a day-to-day basis. You said the peer pressure is real. You're going to be worried about what people are thinking about you. This is classic spiritual warfare, and it's going to take a lot of work,
Yeah. And
and you don't even want to do it. You don't even want to do it. It's one thing when you are stuck on wanting to do it. You know what the right thing to do is. You labeled it out. You know what it is, and you're just fighting against it. And you're up against peer pressure, so you're fighting against these fleshly things. So
yeah. And then
yeah,
she's talking
spiritual
about a
warfare.
job, man, that could come back. That could come back and get her, man. That could come back and get her. Cause she's not saying if they don't work, if they work on the same job, or she never know, that person might know somebody that works on her company, and go back and say what she said, cause her to lose her job.
Yeah, like this requires some action here.
Yeah,
So hmm. Well, listen, we just gave our opinion on this.
yeah,
You can let us know how you feel about it. Um, you can text me at 609-200-1098. Let me know how you feel about tonight's assignment. Maybe you have something different from what me or Birdman has tonight. Again, there's no right or wrong answer. This is just basically our opinions. We are not here to give any advice. Again, we're just giving our opinions on this. So text me, DM me, let me know how you feel about tonight's assignment. And we're getting ready to flow into burning questions. You can, again, check in on tonight's burning question. Let me know. 609 210 98. Let me know how you feel about tonight's show and the burning questions. And the burning questions that we have for tonight is, how do you set boundaries with friends who equate fun with spending money? I'll repeat that again. How do you set boundaries with friends who equate fun with spending money? Birdman, how do you feel about this question?
Wow, like I said, man, you got to know who your friends are, and that's really you have to know who your friends are, and if it's only when there's money involved, they're not your friends. They can laugh in your face all you want, but they're not your friends.
I I find it very interesting now that I have become a financial coach, because I try to help people, and then I realized that, guess what, Laren, you can't help
Yeah.
everybody. And I have friends and I even have coworkers who spend a lot of money on certain things. And even just a couple months ago, somebody told me, "Man, you are cheap." And I laughed a little bit. But then somebody who I was trying to like coach and help with their finances, they said, "No, that's being smart." And I thought that that was one of the most important things that that person could have said at that time, because that was being smart.
I,
Because here I am being a financial coach, I was trying to, explain to them, listen, I don't think you need to, run out and spend your money on fast food every single day. Maybe you should, brown bag it a little bit. But somebody decided to tell me that I was being cheap. Now, that same person that told me that I was being cheap turned around and asked me for some financial advice maybe a couple days later.
hey, hey, trust me, I've been down that road too. You're cheap, yeah, that's all right, but I'm happy. That's how I put it now when they tell me that.
Les Brown, one of the motivational speakers that I listen to, he says it gets lonely at the top, but at least you can eat better.
Yeah, that's so true.
I thought that was interesting. So I do today, I set boundaries, and I find myself around a lot of people who equate fun with spending money. And I don't think that they like what I have to say about it when I say, listen, if you can't buy that thing that you want 5 times over without swiping a credit card, then you don't need it.
Right, right.
And I don't think that they like that. So, um, I'm not going to say that it's easy, because I will tell you, I start to question myself sometimes and realize that, do I really have friends, and what type of friends will I have? And I think it lets me know that when people start to equate fun with spending money and it doesn't align with what my purpose in life is, then that means that that's not a friend to me, and I need to start to elevate and look in different places for any type of friends that I'm looking to have. So I can't go to the same places that I've been delivered from looking for a friend.
Right.
So I set boundaries if they don't like it, even with family sometimes too. Even if they don't like it, I've come to the realization that God has made me who He's made me. And if you don't like it, it is what it
Oh
is.
yeah. Hey, you got, like I said, that's, and you'll hear me say this all the time. You live and you learn.
Yes. And when you know better, you do better. And when you don't do better, when you know better, that's when you run into some problems, because you already know better. And I feel for Latasha, because it seems like she knows better, but she's not doing better. So we'll just
Well,
put positive thoughts in her
the thing
direction.
is, she's lonely. That's what I got from it. That's how I got from. She's lonely, and this is the only way that that void there, she can feel that void. She don't see nothing else. She just feel like that's the only void. That's how she feel that loneliness is by being with these people here who say they're her friends. And long as she's spending money, they friend. But as soon as she put that, like I keep saying, as soon as she keep a credit card in her pocket, she'll find out.
Mm. Well, again, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to chime in on tonight's burning question, please feel free to text me at 609-200-1098. Let me know how you feel about tonight's burning question. I think we have given Miss Latasha enough information to be able to help her guide herself in the right direction. But no matter what we say tonight, and again, if you're listening out there, you're going through something, no matter what we say tonight, it doesn't mean anything because everything starts with self. So you have to be the one to put everything into play. And on that note, I guess this is a wrap for episode 46. I can't believe I'm up to 46 episodes. Birdman, what do you have going on in your area? What's going on this week?
Probably really nothing. I mean, this is one of those weeks that I have nothing really going on. Like the second week of every month is when I have a lot of things. Um, I have nothing going on. I mean, you can find my books Amazon.com, Birdman313. You can find me on Instagram, author poet Birdman31355. You can go to my YouTube channel. Check out my YouTube. I have a lot of videos, a lot. It's just not me on there. I have like when I'm at events, I video other poets and musicians and comedians. And that's youtube.com/author poet Birdman31355. I'm on Spotify under the Coffee, Wine, and Words. I have 11 videos that they have accepted on her podcast. And actually, that's it right there. I'm thinking about stretching out a few more other places, but a lot of places I just kind of cut down because it was getting too hectic. But those are really the main places right there. I don't know, I might have a reading tomorrow night. I don't know. I don't find out until nah, man. She sends out the information like maybe 2 hours before the reading, and I'm like this, man. At least give me a day notice. Because when you give me 2 hours, I'm not even in that mode to read anything. I may just throw out some poems that I wrote 30 years ago.
I know what
I
you
mean,
mean.
yeah, because I like to when I do a reading, I like to be prepared and I like to get them together. And even sometimes I know when I get to the event, I will sit there and I always put myself either fourth or lower because I want to hear what the other poets are saying. And then I get a feel of it. And then I say, okay, I got something similar to that. And I'll pull it, and I'll pick it out. That's just me. Can't speak for everybody.
Yeah, I got you. I got you. Well, we have arrived here. Everybody, please go ahead and support Birdman313. And next week, do you believe that it's 5 years for the 4-1
Wow.
podcast? Next Wednesday. So brace yourself. Get ready for next week because we're going to celebrate a little bit. It's going to be an interesting show next
Hey,
week.
hey, you,
Five
you, you gonna
years.
send me one of them bottles?
Yes, I should have thought about that. I should have done that. Yeah. Now you see? There you go.
Oh man, yeah, I got to pick at you, man. I feel comfortable enough that I could do that,
Absolutely.
man. And you would laugh, man. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good thing. Yeah, 5 years.
That's good,
So,
man.
yeah.
Congrats. Congrats.
Thank you, thank you. So yeah, we're gonna have fun next week. Wednesday of reading between the wines will be the yeah, it's crazy. 5 years since I actually started this whole thing.
Wow.
Mm.
Oh yeah, and I forgot to say, I do have it's 10 books. I have 14 altogether, but the first four are no longer in print. So that's why you if you go to Amazon, you'll only see 10. I should always say that because when I tell people I have 14, some people think they're gonna see all 14, but you won't because the first four I had to get my rights back because of things that happened.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
10 of them will be on Amazon, and I just finished my 15th book last week, so I'm not gonna do anything with it. It's gonna sit in the computer for another 6 months.
Well, next week come with something. I'll put that out there. Since it's the anniversary, we're gonna have a little fun next week. Come with a poem next week. Let's leave it that way. So think now. You got a whole week.
Okay,
Come with something, bring it, and then we'll be ready to hear it next week.
all right.
Sounds good. All right. On that note, let's get out of here so we can preserve because we're almost up to the clock here and we don't want to get
Yeah,
cut off here. So thank you so much. Looking forward to it. Next week, looking forward to listening to your poetry. We might have a couple other people come through next week. So on that note, I'll see you when I see you. Thank you again so much for joining. And any last words you have for everybody?
just have a good evening, man, and take care of yourself. And remember, you have to look out for yourself because if you don't look out for yourself, nobody else will.
Wow, that's good closing notes. I know that's right. All right. Take care, sir. Thank you so much. And I will see you when
Yep.
I see you.
Yep. Sunday, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Take care, man.
All right. See you. Talk to you soon.
Yep. All right.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. That was author Birdman 313. Great episode tonight. I enjoyed sipping on my white Zinfandel and I enjoyed going through the assignment tonight. And if there's anything that you listen to tonight that sparks something in you that you're like, you know what? I'm a little more interested in learning about financial literacy. I'm a little more interested in head on over to laryngaines.com. You can sign up for a free 15-minute consultation. You can apply to see if you qualify for the coaching sessions, which is my financial literacy program. I focus on debt-free living from the realm of spiritual, mental, physical, financial. We touch base on almost all four of them tonight with our assignment. And again, everything starts with self. It requires action. It requires you to say that you want to do something a little bit different today than what you did yesterday. Again, head on over to laryngaines.com if you want more information. You can sign up for my free monthly newsletter, Whispers of Wisdom, inspirational content centered around debt free living, delivered to your inbox once a month. Again, thank you so much to everybody out there who has been listening. And if you're checking out this replay, please go ahead and share this with somebody else. And on that note, I will see you when I see you. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great night. Take care.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that's a wrap on today's episode of the 411 podcast and Reading Between the Wines, where growth is always on the menu, and every pour reveals a little more truth. The conversation doesn't end here. Have something to say? Want to weigh in on tonight's burning questions? Text us anytime at the official 411 podcast and Reading Between the Wines hotline at 609-200-1098. Stay plugged in across all social media platforms at Laryngains. We're live and in the conversation on Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, YouTube, DLive, Twitch, and Dailymotion. Prefer to listen on the go? The audio version is streaming on most major podcast outlets. Until we meet again, take what you've learned, sip slow, speak truth, and remember, transformation starts within. Powered by the Black Diamond Consultations Network.